welcome to Piano Finally, a podcast by an old bloke who's getting around to learning the piano. Finally. Welcome to show number 71. Thank you very much for listening. If this is the first time you're hearing the podcast, I hope you enjoy what's in the show. If you're back for another episode, then thanks for returning. If you too are learning a musical instrument, let me know how you're going with it. You can contact me at david@pianofinally.show. As I expected, there wasn't an episode last week. I was at the Out West Piano Fest, and it was a very full weekend. I'll talk about it a bit more later in the show, but it was great. There's a link in the show notes so you can see what was on. During the week, I got the chance to play some music to some of the Year 8 students while I was covering a music class. It went well. All those hours of practice are paying off. I even played the first couple of bars of the new piece I'm learning. This is a pretty easy way to get some performance practice. The students don't expect me to be perfect. They know I'm learning just like they are. I've also been music book shopping. Spending money on music books doesn't count, so expect some reviews over the next few episodes. The Out West Piano Fest is an annual set of concerts organised by Piano Plus, the organisation that runs the Sydney International Piano Competition. Unlike other concert series spread over a year, the festival runs over a single weekend and includes food and drink along with the music. The festival is held on Blackdown Farm, which is a working farm on the outskirts of Bathurst in the central west of New South Wales. Bathurst is better known for its car racing than its music, but that may change. It's also a really interesting place to visit if you are into geology. The area is an extinct volcanic caldera, and there are lots of interesting rocks and formations. There is a great metamorphic sequence along the uphill section of the racetrack, but I doubt the drivers are looking at it. The festival was held over 3 days, starting on Friday evening with dinner, followed by the first concert. Over the course of the weekend, there were 5 concerts and 3 meals, the first dinner and lunch on the other 2 days. There were also morning teas and a wine tasting, which was wasted on me as I don't drink alcohol. Every meal was excellent, served at tables in the grounds of the farm. There are not many tickets for the festival. A full ticket includes all the meals and performances over the 3 days and are available in premium and standard versions. The only real difference is that the premium tickets get seats closer to the stage, which was nice. Also, because of the 2 pianos, there wasn't a preferred side. Both sides could see the keyboard. There are also single performance tickets and day passes, which include 2 concerts and lunch. The tickets aren't cheap, but this is a premium experience and well worth the expense. The performances were held in a shed on the farm, but it was a long way from a typical farm shed. This shed is also an art gallery, so we were surrounded by pieces of Indigenous art throughout, and of course the whole place was climate controlled, which is important as even in spring, Bathurst is fairly cold. On the temporary stage in the shed was a pair of Shigeru Kawai SK-EX pianos, facing in opposite directions. As I've mentioned before, this is the piano I would buy if I had a much bigger house and a spare $380,000. Kawai lent the pianos to the festival and even had a special deal. If you wanted to buy one, you would get a coffee maker included. No, I don't understand marketing either. There were 6 musicians who performed at each of the concerts, 4 pianists, a violinist and a soprano, and all of them were excellent, of course. With perhaps one exception, all of the performers were much younger than the bulk of the audience. Even I was younger than many of the festival goers. It is perhaps a little disappointing that this type of thing isn't more widely seen by young musicians. It is, however, really great that the festival is providing a stepping stone for these performing musicians in their early careers. Jeonghwan Kim was born in Seoul in 2000 and was the winner of the Sydney International Piano Competition in 2023, along with numerous other competitions and awards. Earlier this year, Jo Wang picked up the first prize in the International Bartok World Competition. I had already seen Chinese pianist Wynona Wang perform, as she was the bronze medalist at the Gina Bacow Piano Competition last year, the first piano competition I covered on the podcast. She currently studies at the Juilliard School of Music. Rueben Tsang is from Cairns in Northern Australia and was the highest placed Australian in the 2023 Sydney International Piano Competition. He has recently completed a tour of Spain, Italy and the UK and is studying at the Queensland Conservatorium. The final pianist was Mark Coughlan, who, in addition to being the executive director of Piano Plus, is also a concert pianist with many years' experience. Mark is heavily involved in much of the classical music scene in Australia, organising and performing across the country from his base in Perth. The four pianists provided a variety of different styles across the wide range of music that made up the concerts. Because the venue was so small, everyone was really close, and it was great to be able to see everyone's technique. One thing that came across really clearly was the enjoyment that each performer had in playing to an appreciative audience. But even though it was a piano festival, there was more. Australian-American soprano Rachelle Durkin added her voice to some of the performances, adding variety to the programs and allowing the piano to play the part of accompanist rather than primary instrument. Rachelle is an opera singer, and she had no trouble filling the hall with song, even over 2 full-sized concert grands. The sixth of the main musicians was violinist Harry Bennetts. Harry was the festival performer I had heard perform the most before this, as he is the Associate Concertmaster of the Sydney Symphony Orchestra, so I had seen him 5 times this year already and will be listening to him again tomorrow. The first of the concerts on Friday night was called A Night at the Opera. It opened with the 4 pianists playing the overture to Mozart's The Marriage of Figaro, followed by pieces by Liszt, Strauss, Rossini and others. Rachelle Durkin performed a number of the pieces, and it was interesting to hear the piano adaptations of music originally composed for an opera orchestra. The first of Saturday's concerts was Songs and Dances, starting off with Rueben Tsang playing Chopin's mazurkas, César Frank's Sonata for Violin and Piano, followed with Harry Bennetts and Wynona Wang performing. After the performance, we were told that the two had only met the day before, but it sounded like they'd been working together for much longer. A 2-hour lunch followed before Afternoon in Vienna, with the music of Strauss, Schubert and Kreisler. The Sunday concert started with music from Russia, lots of Rachmaninov with a little Scriabin and Tchaikovsky thrown in. One of the highlights was Wynona Wang's performance of Rachmaninov's first piano concerto. It's a difficult piece, and she played it beautifully, receiving a standing ovation at the end. After another long lunch, the final performance of the weekend had Rueben Tsang and Harry Bennetts combining for Beethoven's Spring Sonata, Jeonghwan Kim playing Gaspard de la Nuit, Rachelle Durkin and Mark Coughlan playing Irving Berlin's I Love a Piano, and Wynona Wang playing some Schubert and Liszt songs. The program also listed Harry Bishop's Lo, Hear the Gentle Lark, and Mark and Rachelle were joined on stage by a young 14-year-old flautist making her concert debut. Unfortunately, her name isn't in the program and I didn't catch it, but she was great and her very proud mum and flute teacher were in the audience to watch. Having the lunches and dinners as part of the package seemed convenient when I saw how the weekend was being run, as the farm is too far from town to conveniently pop back for a snack, but they turned into the highlight of the weekend. There was no allocated seating, so you ended up talking with different people at each meal, and everyone there had an interesting story and approach to the concerts. Clearly, everyone was a classical music fan, but their life stories were fascinating. There were a lot of doctors. I had a lunch with a magazine editor and one of the organisers of the upcoming piano competition, amongst others. And when they weren't practising, the artists also joined us at the tables for meals. The food breaks turned out to be just as enjoyable as the concerts. It was a great weekend, and I'd recommend it to anyone who can make it along. There'll be another one next year towards the end of October, if you happen to be in the area. A piano festival doesn't just happen without a ton of planning. And of course, one of the main requirements for the piano festival is the pianos. I was able to catch up with Jay Burns, the producer of the weekend, to have a bit of a chat about just what is involved in putting on such a production, and just how do you get 2 concert grand pianos into a farm shed. We're joined by Jay Burns, who's the producer of the Far West Piano Fest. Welcome, Jay.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
It must take a lot of work to put something like this together.
Yeah, it takes several months of planning to get everything in place, get some beautiful grand pianos on a stage inside a shed on a farm.
Yes.
But this is our 4th year running, and I've been doing this with this organisation for the last 4 years. So It's a little easier the more times you do it.
Yeah, I would assume so. How do you get, what is that, $750,000 worth of pianos into the country New South Wales and into a tin shed, basically?
Exactly, yeah. We've got a great partnership with Kawai, who very kindly lend us these beautiful pianos that we have here today. And we work with a great team of Extreme Pianos, and they deliver the instruments out. But the coordination challenges are to make sure that everything's in the right place before they arrive. So we need to make sure, of course, our stage is there before the pianos arrive, but also that there's clear pathways and things for them to get around. Also, what the audience doesn't see is there's another 2 pianos backstage, 2 upright pianos that are there for warm-up and practice as well. So they can't fit it all on one truck, so they bring a truck and a van and 4 pianos in for the 4 days.
Yeah, big. And there's so much more going on. There's food. Do you just look after the musical side, or you're looking after everything?
I look after everything that happens over the weekend, aside from the music making. So we have an incredible caterer here, Margot. She's from Margot Catering, and she does a great job. She's been with us since her first year as well. And what we try our very best to do is work with her and our designers. So we have designers to do the table settings and everything, and we work with them collaboratively with the program that our artistic director will create, so that we can do our best to pair the experience of the food with the actual music that's being played.
Okay. Yeah. I hadn't noticed. I've just been eating the food and enjoying it. So how did you come to be here? What's your story?
So I'm a saxophone player, actually. Trained saxophone player, classical musician. And I spent a lot of my career teaching. I was working for Sydney University and the Sydney Conservatorium, teaching for them. When COVID hit, I was teaching 60 hours a week on Zoom. But I've always been sort of an event creator as well. So at that time, I got a bit burnt out, to be honest, from teaching 60 hours. And so sort of headed into production and things like that. So that's when I started with this company, and it's gone from there.
That's fun.
I enjoy it a lot.
That's the important thing, I think.
Yeah, it's like I always say to people, it's like mowing your grass. It's hard work, but when you finish, you see a great result. And it's the same with an event like this. It's a lot of hard work to organise it, but when you get here, you just see the result and the happiness on the audience face.
Yeah. And the event's aimed at adults, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But, we welcome everybody. The more audience we can have here to experience this, the better. But, it's also nice because it's an intimate event. We don't have thousands of people here. It's a group of, this year, it's a group of 75 people. And I think that's a really special thing as well, that these small group of audience can get up close and personal with these incredible artists.
And we're all getting to know each other as well.
Yeah, exactly. That festival spirit's always great.
It's been really great. And it's back again next year.
Yes, definitely.
About the same time?
Usually we're around the 3rd week of October. So, we try and avoid the beginning of October because Bathurst 1000's on.
Oh, yes.
So we're usually in the latter part of October.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be here again next year.
Hope to see you.
Thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
And thanks very much for putting all this together.
Absolute joy for me. So
thanks a lot. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks very much to Jay for taking the time for a chat. He was a very busy man throughout the weekend, especially when it looked like it might rain on Sunday. Of course, he had a team of people working with him, and they all ensured that the weekend ran smoothly. I was going to include a wrap-up of the 19th International Chopin competition in this week's show, but it's already quite long, so I'll hold it over until next week. That will also give me a chance to have more of a look at all the commentary that is going on. The YouTube coverage of the competition has been extensive, and you can now see the performance of all the competitors as individual videos, which is great, as the recordings of the live stream contain a lot of waiting around. This has also given me the opportunity to take up one of the suggestions Debbie made at my last piano lesson. We were talking about playing styles and how, at the moment, I really don't have a style more complex than trying to get the notes right. And Debbie suggested that I should find a piece of music that I like and listen to lots of different pianists' interpretations of the piece. Well, all of the finalists played Chopin's Polonaise Fantasy, which is one of my favourites. And there's a playlist of all their performances, so I've been working through that. I'll put a link to the playlist in the show notes. The show should return to its regular schedule for the foreseeable future. I'm recording on Saturday this week, as I will be at the Opera House again on Sunday for the final concert in this year's Sydney Symphony Orchestra subscription. This week it is Sinfonietta by Janacek, Dvorak's Cello Concerto, and Ravel's orchestration of Mussorgsky's Pictures at an Exhibition. It might be it for the subscription, but the orchestra still has performances of Wagner's Siegfried and Beethoven's Ninth Symphony before they get a Christmas break. I've already received the tickets for next year's performances, and I'm looking forward to more excellent music. If you'd like to contact me, email is the best way. You'll find me at david@pianofinally.show and the website at www.pianofinally.show. In both cases, Piano Finally is all one word. The show is also on Spotify and available as audio only on YouTube. You can subscribe via any popular iOS or Android podcast application or from directories such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify or YouTube. I also post an excerpt and link for each episode as an Instagram reel. If you're learning an instrument, let me know where you are in your journey. What's going well and what are the challenges? How are you managing your time? So, until next week, I hope your piano stays in tune and you enjoy your time at the keys. Wynona Rossi's A Wild Chase is coming along enough that I'm starting to add some other pieces. I can now usually play the piece from memory, although I still have the music open on the piano. I'm not quite at the playing it evenly stage yet, as you'll hear, but I know it's well on the way to performance level. I've added a much more ambitious piece to the repertoire, Beethoven's Piano Sonata No. 14 in C-sharp minor. Even with my poor playing, you'll recognise it. I have no intention of learning the whole piece at this stage. Just the opening dozen or so bars will be enough. It's the first real piece of piano music I'm learning, and I'm really enjoying practicing it. I'm 2.5 bars in, leaving just another 471.5 to go. The music was recorded using the Kawai NV10 as the keyboard, the M4 Pro Mac Mini Pro running Cubase and Piano Tech 9 emulating a Shigeru Kawai SK-EX grand piano in concert mode.